Welcome back to the shed. Now, as I said with the last video, I'm now going to set out how this 12 volt system is going to go on this back panel that we put together the other day, well, yesterday in fact. I've now doubly painted it so it looks nice and pretty, and I'm going to start laying everything out. So that's going to be the initial start of it anyway. There might be some changes as fundamentals get done, but this is just going to be the sort of general layout of how this is going to go. So I can start getting some cable glands cut in the back of that, so I can get things done and start getting this put together so I can go buy all the cables that I require to actually do it. I don't have any cables yet. I'm just going to literally lay it all out and go from there. So let's get the stuff on the table and see where we're going to put everything. Right. Okay, so we might as well start with the biggest stuff we've got. I'll start with the biggest item, and that's going to be the inverter. Now the inverter, I went with the Renogy, strictly price. It's not going to be a massively drawn out item, so it's going to be used, but well, it's going to be used, same as every other. I have an iTech World one in my old car, and that seems to run fine. So this one here, I've been told they run good too, so I'm going to give it a go. And that's pretty much going to go on the board like bang. Pretty much the bottom side here, with just enough room for me to reach behind it, enough room for a gap on the bottom. That's pretty much going to go as we speak right there. Now my MPPTs, I've got two MPPTs, so I'm going to go for the 130. So I may put 400 amps of lithium, 400 watts of solar on the roof. So that's going to take well and truly enough for that. It's going to go somewhere up there. I've then got a smaller version just for the emergency blanket. So it's like I've got a 10 amp to 15 amp blanket. So the 7515 to be perfect to go up there. Again, then I've got my DC-DC charger, so my 30 amp DC-DC charger. So that there is going to be used using the existing wiring I've got in the back of the car. So in the back of the car I've got a feed for the caravan. So when I'm driving the car alone, I'm just going to plug the feed into the back of this and make it nice and simple. Just join two Andersons and off I go. When I'm using the caravan and need a charge, I'll just unplug it and plug it into the caravan. So I'll feed charge to one set of batteries at a time, not two, because I don't want to blow up my alternator. So that's probably going to go somewhere there. This may go over there actually, a bit more next to that bolt there, give myself a bit more room, like that. I have my magic fuse. That's just going to go somewhere nice and easy, so it doesn't matter where that goes at the moment. I've got my positive and negative bus bars. Now these things here, the battery's going to feed straight to these, okay? So I'm going to go, let's have a go here. I don't know where I'm going to put them yet, but let's just put them on a situation like that, where they feed straight off there onto the positive negatives, and then a couple of wires run straight through into my system, and off I go. I've got some smaller bus bars if I need it for my joining of wiring to make things happen, but I don't think I'll need that at the moment. I've got some other cables there. Now, obviously I've got my on-off switch, which I've got to run between here somewhere, as I said yesterday. I've got to put that through. Now the on-off switch is going to be, I have to find somewhere to put that. So that's going to go somewhere there. Again, this is just loose. I'm working through this. Now one of the things I have got, which I can't see at the moment, which I'll find that for you, and we'll get it sorted out, is some cable tray. Basically I'm going to try and tidy this right up so it's a nice, simple, economical unit. And go from there. I'm going to go buy some cables today and screw all these down in this sort of location. Once I've got it sorted, I'm going to run my cables for my controllers, label all of those, get those ready to go, so I know where they are. And then obviously the feed will run into their own cable trays to the feed, which is probably to the bus bar, which will be somewhere here, so they'll feed into that, and then from there it'll go through the fuse to the battery, or through the fuse through the off switch to the battery. Obviously the negative will be the negative there, and obviously I have a smart shunt for my monitor, so that'll go to the battery. So obviously from the battery to the smart shunt, from the end of the smart shunt to the negative bus bar, so that'll go somewhere on the table as well. Where that's going to go, I don't know yet, but it's just going to go somewhere like that, and we'll just run our way through. So it's a pretty simple, idealistic setup. It's just a matter now of actually putting it together and making the cables run beautifully, where there's not going to be too much pressure on them. And the reason I say that is because that's overkill, right? That's massive. That's bigger than my old fella, but you know, it's pretty serious. I like to use Flexi for when I'm running inverters to batteries. There's no reason for that to ever fail. I make my own. I've got the crimping tool. I'll crimp it up and get it done. But yeah, I like to use Flexi. I may not use Flexi. Excuse me, that screen's going funny. I may not use Flexi on this one because it's only a 2,000 watt inverter. This was for a 3,000 watt inverter in my caravan. But I'm going to use something similar, some big fat ass cable, which is going to be well and truly over the 160 to 200 amp draw that this thing can pull out at maximum. So, well, they say double, so it could even be 320, but I don't think that's possible personally. I think it's more like it's a 160 standard, I think, maximum draw, or with the surge it might jump up to 200. We'll have a go, but I'll make sure I can well and truly cover it. We'll get that sorted out. I love this stuff. It's pretty cool. Like, it's Flexi cable. Like, you can do whatever you want with it. It actually works really well for going around corners and up and around, and that's also why I like using the Flexi over just this normal hardcore wire where it's just like, you know, you got to bend it. Anyway, that's where we're at. So I'm going to go down the road now and buy some cables, start to run this through. I've got my ferrules to run into these things with the shoelacing tool. Run into those. I'm just going to run about 2 meters of cable outside, just rolled up around those, so we've got them all set up, ready to go. Then I'm going to run cables for all of this and start getting that set up. So time to go shopping. Let's go. Alright, so I've got some cables and things. Now I'm just going to screw these down before I start to go through that process. So I'll screw down just the MPPTs and the DC-DC, get that locked down, and I can start running my cables and stuff. Boom, boom. That's pretty cool though. I'm actually a little bit excited about this. Just need to get it right, okay? Just get it right. So I've screwed down some of these just to make it all stable. Not finished yet to do the little one. But screwed them all down. 4 points on each side. They're solid as shit, which is good. I hope I haven't screwed that to the table. No, I haven't, so that's a bonus. So they're going to be my lead area. So from here is where everything else is going to be set up. You see my stabilizer hole there. So when my bolt's going to go through with my washer, so that's going to sit just below to keep it nice and straight. That's all good. This is going to be screwed. I haven't done that yet. I'm going to get my angle here right. I think that's about right. But I still need to have a plug that feeds into that. So whichever one it is, I think it's this one here, goes in there. Gets plugged in. So then it goes, plugs into the back of my other part that I built the other day. So that plug has to go through there. I'll just move this shit out of the way here for a moment and just verify which one that is so I don't screw up the gaps. Okay, so on the back of this here, okay, so that's the connection point there, which is good. So now I know which one it is. When I go to not break everything right here, please, when I go to plug it in, I know it's going to be this cable. So this will give me my distance that I need to have the inverter away from the wall that comes inwards, you know, the 90-degree wall or 45 or whatever. 30-degree I think ended up being actually, 30-degree front panel. This will give me my distance to set the inverter at. So if I plug that in now, that'll give me my gap. Let's have a look, eh? So plug this in here, because that's going to be permanently plugged in there. And that's going to run to the front panel to feed everything. Now with the front panel, if I set the front panel on here, on that angle, I'm going to need that gap there, as you can see. So I need that gap there. I can't go any closer because otherwise if there's any flex in this, it's going to cause me a problem. I might even go down a fraction like that, so I can get my hand in there and actually adjust and undo that if I need to, because that is quite tight, but it will work. There's also a plug has to come out of there as well, actually. That is the plug that goes into there. It's actually quite a long cable for this to be a pain in the ass, actually. It's going to go like that and be cable tied. So that'll sit okay. That's nice, the right spot, I think. I think it's a pretty good spot. So we will work with that. where it sits is where it's going. Right the first time, that's bloody unusual. So I'll screw that down where it is. It's off the ground of friction, so it's actually going to be supported by its legs, not by sitting on the ground. Now, I did think about putting it down there with a bit of rubber to give it a bit of extra support, but I'm not going to. It's going to hang it on the wall. Let's roll on. This also misses the top hole, so I can still get access to the top hole to put that bolt on. It actually works quite well being level with the others at the bottom too for the wiring. I painted these screws black for the record just to make them look pretty. Takes no real effort, it's solid, it's good. I'll do the same thing again now. I'll paint some more screws for the inverter just to make it look nice, because obviously it's all about looking nice too. So I'll paint those screws with a bit of fiddly bits paint and screw that down. Just painting the top of the heads black just for aesthetics. You know how it is sometimes, you just want to make it look pretty, so just black heads. Boom, there you go, all good. Alright, these screws are quite long and chunky, so they're going to go straight through the board, so I don't mind that. But on the back I'll just go through the grinder, just knock off any of the sharp edges that are staying on there, so we don't get sparkly bits going through the back and causing some grief. They're definitely in hard enough. I do that and I haven't set it bloody square. What a knob jockey. What an amateur, hey, what an amateur. I've gone and done it and not set it square. Just an amateur act. Too busy talking shit, not enough concentration. It's moved enough to get out of those holes too, which is a bonus. Happy days, nice and square. I'll have a look at the back and see how many screws have come through. A few little ones here, so I'll knock those off with the grinder, just because I don't want them, when I'm putting on the table, just scratching table, me getting caught up or whatever. So I'll knock them off real quick and get it out of the way. I think that is it. Knock off all these little sharp bits, which you don't need anyway. Nice and tidy. So that is now coming together. We have the start of our 12 volt system. Boom. So that'll work. As I say, I've got some cable. I'm going to go get that sorted out now. Start to get the lugs laid out, get it all sorted. Set my tails up on this because that's going to feed through the wall. Actually, I won't do my tails. I'll do all the internal stuff and then do the tails when I go to put it in. Otherwise, it's just another thing I've got to deal with. So I'll get that done. Lay out this area here. Get that all set up because that needs to be done. And get it sorted. All good. Alright. We have our big fat cables. How's this for supercharged? Not quite as fat as the Flexi I was talking about, as you can see, but rated nonetheless to well over what I require. So that's going to be pretty good. And again, I've got that TV up too loud. It seems like a normal sort of thing we do these days, isn't it? So this is what I'm going to be using for my inverter feed and also to my battery, sorry. So that'll be fine. And I've got my solar cable, which is the same for both sides, which is big fat juicy cable as well. Rated well and truly over 30 amps, which is what the maximum this is going to punch in. So we're all good there. Even on the 7515, it's well and truly overrated, so we'll be good there. I'm going to lace those up and set those in. So my plan is now to actually set up this process. So I'm going to go through, hopefully that fan, you can hear me over that fan. I'm going to go through and set up my tray, set up attaching to my positive and negative bus bars, actually set up my internal stuff here so I can drop this in the car, and then I can run all the external stuff. So let's get that underway. Boom, boom, boom. First I've got to find my lacing gear, so let's do that first. Look at this. Ignore my no shirt, it's 35,000 degrees today, so I'm bloody cooking. Right, I'm using this blue stuff that I got ages ago, which is for my wiring. So my wiring's all going to run through it. So that's going to sit about there, overhang slightly. And all my feeds are going to come down from the outside, feed into these, and then the external is going to come back in and feed out that way. So it's going to be all good. So I'm setting this up, as I said before. I've got this blue thing here, this little wrapper, which I'm going to run from the end of this, so wires come out the end, potentially, or not, all the way along, and then it's going to go up that way as well. So I'll screw that on there, so it feeds through the whole way to jump out to where I need it to be. I'm still trying to work out where I'm going to put these positive and negative bus bars. Yeah, the struggle is real with that. Hear that noise? Every time I come on here, out here, something's noisy. Today it's sirens. Choice. Anyway, we'll keep working on it. Oh, I drilled through the table. Bugger. Screwed down my blue plastic thingy just here. That's all screwed down. So now it's time for me to wire up, do some splicing some wire, get this ready to run down to where I'm going to have the other end on all three of these. So I'll get that done. I'll start to get that set up. Hopefully I bought enough wire. I should have done. And get that laid out. Now I still haven't worked out I'm going to go to the positive, but this needs to go somewhere like that. So I'm thinking I might have the red terminals like that, so all the feeds feed into this lug. So 1, 2, 3 into this lug, and the battery can feed from the other end, and then I can have a couple of little positives connected to these little things for some of the other wiring stuff we've got to get done. Yeah, I'm hoping it'll work. Let's just play with it and see how we go. As you can see, I'm guessing as I go. I get a rough idea of what I need to do, but I'm just guessing on exactly how this is going to go with it all, so let's just keep guessing, I guess. So initially I'm going to run my MPPT 7515. Actually, let's push pause on this for a moment. 1 second. Oh no, it's gone. So 7515, we're going to put that up onto here. So this is going to go from there to there. So battery, it's going to come down like that and get fed down the line to here. You can see that, and that's going to connect onto there. I think that's how it's going to go. So I'll trim this about there and make the difference. So it should be all good. Bloody phone doesn't stop. Pain in the ass. Alright, so I've opted for this to go down the channel like so. You can see there I've used my little ferrules. I'll explain that in a minute. Or the shoe lacing, whatever they call it. Down through here along, and I'm going to attach this one to here. This is now stuck. I'm going to do this with one of these, put some heat shrink on, get that sorted out, and then pretty much from there, the negative, I'm going to put the negative, here's the negative lead, we're going to find some home for that, and then set it all up so it runs. When I say runs, keep the run from this one, run from that one, keep it all going. Alright, so that's set to 10, which is the same as these. This one here goes into the block like that, comes on down. Rah, crushed. There we go. And this particular crimp has 10 written on it as well, so you know it's for the right size, which is pretty handy. Get a heat shrink in place. Yeah, lighter going. Whew, very hot. I guess it is fire. The breeze is blowing it out, so give me a second. There we go. And that is a good connection. So we're happy with that. So now this is going to feed into here. It's going to feed in there like so. Boom, into the hole. This one here is going to go onto there, like so. It's nice and straight, that's good. The negative will go wherever I need to put it. I'll find a home for that. And then we'll do the same thing for here. I've already put the ferrules on the end, with the one ferrule on the end of this, you can see it here. So this is, I think they call it lacing. So I grab my little bit of gear, where is it? Over here. So it comes in a pack of laces, or whatever you want to call it. You crack it open, and I'm going for the big red ones, the big juicy ones on this. Watch me spill this everywhere just to really piss myself off. They fit on. What's in there? They fit on like so. You wind them on so they're tight. Cramp the shit out of it. That goes in there. And you clamp it. Creates a square. Pretty handy. Well, I'm going to leave that one here for today. So the layout's all done. We've got some cabling done, as you can see here. Not a lot, but a little bit. This is set up, ready to go through the link here. That one's attached there. The negative's ready to go wherever I put the negative bus bar. I've got everything else in place. And I've got my cables and some more bootlace ferrule crimper kit because I ran out of bootlace ferrules. Now, I'm stopping now. We had a massive storm just come through. They called it a nuclear cell or something. Man, it was wicked. Like, my garage floor's wet. I've changed t-shirts because I got soaked. Yeah, not a pretty sight. And I've thrown the King swag on top of the car trying to protect it from the hail. It worked. Don't laugh at me. Anyway, I'll leave it here for now. The next phase of this is going to be actually finishing the setup of the wiring, installing it in the car, running it to the battery, and getting the feed from the outside, DC-DC charging setup, solar setup, etc, etc. So we'll leave it here for now, as I said 3 times, but thanks for watching. Yeah, we'll catch up with you on the next one. Cheers guys, stay classy.